Oh, g'day scrappers. Time for another laptop scrap out. I haven't done one for a while, so I thought, well, better start catching up on doing these laptops because they're starting to build up. This one's the Asus A2400H, so we'll have a little look at it. Basically, pretty standard one. So yeah, if you you remember the first couple of videos that I did, the reason why I'm doing these laptop scrap outs is just to have a basic look at what's inside. These are pretty much all dead laptops. Can't really sell them on the secondary market, so but you know, we can sell some of the parts in here to get some extra value, but as well as selling the parts, it's just to have a little bit of fun. Something I do in my little indoor workshop, and so just want to have a look at all the different types. I've got some really good spare older IBMs and Toshibas and some pretty cool ones to do as well, so I'm just going to get into it slowly, and we'll just have a look at what we can get out of each one and how the motherboard looks. And yeah, so you can watch me undo a few screws here and there. I've taken out a lot of the screws from underneath, just so you don't have to sit there and watch me undo every screw. The battery out. So once again, we've got a little bit of gold foil in the battery there, some pins you can remove if you want, but you can also sell these lithium ion batteries if they're in good condition, or just sell them as scrap batteries. If you don't want to sell them, just recycle them, because they're you don't want to put them into your scrap metal or anything like that. Alright, so this one doesn't have access to the hard drive, so it's obviously, the hard drive's obviously inside there somewhere. Got the CPU here. You can see copper heatsink, so you know, even scrapping out the laptops for metals and stuff like that, you know, things like copper heatsink, you know, it's better than just aluminium. Obviously, you know, we're getting, you know, like 4 or 5 times more value. So see what we got here. Okay, so the CPU's there, stuck to it. So these CPUs, they're about the second lowest value CPUs, aside from the Pentium 4 pinless. These ones with the Pentium 4 pins, you know, the heatsink's actually already removed, so you know, a little bit less value as a CPU, but already one step ahead. We can actually leave this on to this copper piece, because it just depends on what we're going to do, but if we can remove this bit of aluminium, this aluminium part, the rest of this is obviously copper. You can cut through, have a look in there. So all this steel part is aluminium. So if we can't remove this aluminium part, we'll have to sell it as a copper aluminium radiator. And one thing I can do is just cut this piece off. So now we can throw this into candy copper, or number 2 copper. It's all copper, so a bit of weight there, so that's all right. And this one here we can actually throw into copper aluminium radiator. So as aluminium might get like $1.30 a kilo, but we get $3 a kilo when it's mixed with copper aluminium. So yeah, but we can still take off this heatsink and put this straight into number 2 copper if we like, but it's like a tinned copper. Otherwise, if you didn't want to waste your time, you can just throw this into copper aluminium radiator. Little CPU. Alright. We'll get this top cover off. Sometimes these covers are really hard to get off. You just they've put screws and all kinds of little clips and stuff. So this one was a Pentium 4 running on Windows XP. So okay, so we just got a bit of plastic here. In here, we've just got the little keypad. The keypad board. Sometimes people ask me about these keypad boards. They're so small and lightweight. They don't really have much value, but they do have gold plating. And so even these copper pieces of copper, so it's like copper sticky tape. So you can peel this off and just throw this in with your burnt copper. So, you know, that's solid copper there. And we've got our little keypad board, bit of plastic. So this is scrapping laptops. It's quite low value because it's time consuming, but the stuff you get out of it is good value. This is just gold flashing. So it's not plating, it's just flashed. So there's very little value. There's like nothing underneath, it's just a blank board. Sometimes they do have a very sticky back. Sometimes they do have gold flashing completely on the back as well. You know, if you remove the, you know, like depopulate, took off the IC chip and the little MLCCs and stuff and cleaned it up, you know, you could put it in, say, with RAM sticks after you've removed all the chips as well. But because it's gold flashing, you're going to get very little gold out of it, and you know, you're probably going to use a lot of solution, but still, you know, they build up. So you put them, you know, just that, put them aside, add them to your collection. A little bit of wire, but yeah, just plastic. So just send it off to plastic recycling. I think I've got a little speaker here. So depending on how much time you've got, you know, will depend on what you actually sell. Looks like we've got a pretty large motherboard here. Like these keyboards, you know, if you took care of them, sometimes you can sell these keyboards, but you know, by the time you muck around trying to sell them, you know, you can also just pull them apart, take out the keyboard Mylar out of this. Right, so we've got a bit of, this looks like probably stainless steel. So, you know, a bit of value there as well. Bit of plastic. Okay, so we've got a keyboard Mylar, just like a regular keyboard. You can put these in with your Mylars, remove the the clear plastic. Okay, now with these ones though, they're a little bit difficult to process. They process differently because they've got this bit of carbon, those little black dots. When you see the black dots and stuff, that's kind of like carbon, and it's it just contaminates the silver and just makes it a little bit more difficult. So you keep these separate to the clean, where we got it, like here you can see this is clean silver trace. So you can cut this off. That's what I would do. I would cut this off and put this with the regular Mylar, and these with the carbon, put them separate. They're a little bit harder, and I believe also with the, if there's green, the green makes it also a little bit harder to process. So you want to definitely want to keep these separate to your nice clean silver Mylar. Okay, let's have a look. Again, probably a little bit of stainless steel again. Okay, we've got 2 RAM sticks here. So if the RAM sticks were of good size, we could obviously sell these. Not really. Yeah, they're 256 meg, so they're not really, you know, worth really selling on eBay. You know, you can try, you know, if people want to restore an old one and they just want the old RAM. You know, if they're 500 gig or 500 meg or 1 gigabyte RAMs, you can still sell them, but these 256 meg aren't going to sell very well, so we just put these in scrap RAM. What else we got? Just get down into the motherboard, and basically, unless you're doing the same kind of laptop over and over, everyone's sort of a little bit different inside. They're all got screws at different areas. So what have we got? We've got a nice little card here. Okay. So it's technically it's like a little slot card, because we've got the gold fingers here. It's just it's the VGA board, the video card. So you know, this card here, because the actual laptop was broken, we couldn't really test it out to see, but this video card here will probably still work. So you know, you can try selling this video card maybe. Otherwise, I'd just throw this into, me personally, I'll just throw this into slot cards, because there's no real value. You got your little tactile switches here with a little bit of silver in them, just 1 IC chip, some MLCCs, but because it's got the little slots there, we can get away with this as a slot card. It's really not worth depopulating. Probably better off just getting your value there. What else we got? So yeah, you know, as I was saying, the laptops are, you know, if you're going by hourly rate or anything like that, you know, they're nothing like PCs. They take a lot longer, and so they're more the sort of thing that I like to put aside just for a bit of fun. So here we've really got a nothing board. It'll just go as a low grade. We've got some little switches here, but yeah, very little on that board. Little bit of brass here, so you know, brass all adds up, you know, same as copper. Just keep stacking it away, filling up your bucket, and eventually you'll be surprised how much you actually get. And we've got a nice BGA chip here, at least gold corner chip. But motherboards, or laptop motherboards, sell for more than PC laptops, PC boards, because they've got less junk on them. So they've still got similar chips and stuff like that on them, but they don't have all the side rubbish. So that's why they laptop motherboards should always sell for like at least $1 a pound more. Usually around server grade boards. I'm going to be a bit rough with it because I can't see anything here that I'm going to be selling as parts. Just scrapping it out. The ones that I really like to, well, the ones that I like to sell as parts are either very new ones, that I know I'm going to, it has to be like anything with Windows XP is neither new or old. It's just, you know, it's too old to sell as anything new and too new to sell as anything old. To rip that. But yeah, but when it comes to vintage laptops, then I'm a little bit more careful in what I how I scrap it. But here's the motherboard here anyway. Okay, so yeah, not bad. I mean, we've got a nice BGA chip under this heatsink, but we don't have to remove this heatsink, so we might as well get top dollar out of that heatsink there. We want to remove the battery, of course. We can. Scrap. So yeah, and so another BGA chip here, some ICs, probably some stuff under there. Not a great deal. So this is basically how we just leave it. We don't have to really remove anything else off it and just sell this as a laptop motherboard. If you like, you can remove some of these MLCCs. Can get a couple of them off without really, you know, doing any damage. You can maybe take off the crystal there. The other side, yeah, got a couple of crystals around, but really nothing to really depopulate out of this. You know, you might pick out a couple more MLCs here, and yeah, but you know, you get pretty good money for laptop motherboards, so I can't see them really worth scrapping, like depopulating completely, because, you know, you got aluminium capacitors. It's all, you know, there is a little bit of junky stuff. There's not much in gold pins, and so yeah, but mostly, you know, your IC chips. You got this part here, you know, which is no value there. Some gold pins in these little slots here for the RAM, but really there's not a lot of value, so you might as well get your maximum value by just selling these rather than depopulating. Because okay, we've got a nice BGA chip here, some flat packs. We've got a nice BGA chip under there, but compared to what we're getting out of the weight out of this, because it's pretty heavy, this one, you're much better off selling it as a laptop motherboard. Got a DVD drive. So a little bit of wire. The hard drive has obviously already been taken out, so you get that a lot with laptops. Got a couple of fans here, bit of stainless steel, and the rest is just plastic. Now, just got the screen. All I really want out of the screen is the finger strip board. So we can see if we can get this open. A lot of plastic. So we've got a little board here. It's nothing really to it. Just a little copper transformer, but we've got, usually get nice MLCC on these boards, some little ones, and these pink ones, they're also MLCCs, so don't forget to get them. Okay, so yeah, it's certainly not really much to it, not much hard work. It's just a lot of little screws. That's what you're spending most of your time on, and working out how to actually open it up. But you're certainly not going to get rich from scrapping laptops. You know, if they're good models and you can test them, you know, and sometimes even if they're not working, you can actually get good money for them selling them on eBay if that's what you want to do, you know. But some people just don't want to sell on eBay. You know, I think it's pretty boring unless you got really good hot items, you know, like rare gaming consoles or rare laptops that people are really looking for, where there's not many. You know, just putting everything on eBay, and I'd have nothing else to do if I just try to sell everything on eBay and don't really get much. But this foil here is all aluminium, so you know, you can peel this foil off and you can just put this into aluminium, right? It's pretty light, but it all adds up, you know. Bit of free aluminium, some wire, oh, little board, nothing on it, it's just rubbish. Bit more wire. So just another piece of plastic. Now we've got our little screen. Got the wire here. A little bit of gold plating, not much on this one, but a little bit of gold plating there, nothing there. This is just low grade insulated wire. We've got our two finger strip boards. Take this one off. So yeah, these finger strip boards are reasonably low value, but you know, you just keep building them up. They do add up, you know, fingers all the way along. Single-sided, very, very light, but it does add up. And the main finger strip board, there's no gold on there. You know, a lot of times we get really good little MLCCs and stuff, you know, so yeah, they're very, very small. They're just, you know, a lot lighter than a regular LCD finger strip board. But as I said, it all adds up. You've got a little chip. If you just want to depopulate them, you know, you've always got some IC chips on there, some little MLCCs. And the rest of this, we can just throw this into a... either send it off to a recycler or just throw it in with your scrap steel. Fill up empty PCs with it. Alright, so that's it. So we've got... that was the Asus A2400H. We've got a couple finger strip boards. We've got our laptop, our motherboard. We've got a virtually nothing board here. We've got switches on it that we can you can remove if you go into silver recovery. Otherwise, this will just go as a low grade. So motherboard grade, finger strip boards, low grade, slot card. Because of the gold fingers, we can throw this in with slot cards. Although very light, you might also want to sell it. Got two RAM sticks, good value. Got our trackpad board with very light gold flashing. Copper aluminium part of the heatsink. The solid copper part of the heatsink. Just remove the rubbish. That's not bad. About £1/4 pound. Some aluminium. Very little bit of wire. Got our CPU with pins. Already got the heatsink removed. So for gold recovery, you can remove those pins if you like. You can get right into it. Go for the gold. You can see the little gold corner there. So there's bonding wire, a little bit in there, or some kind of bit of gold there, maybe. Bit more copper, and the lithium-ion battery that you can sell as a as a scrap battery. Sometimes if you can test them to work, you can sell them second hand, but usually you can get some scrap value out of this. Much better than throwing these away. And that's it. And old screen. So that's it. That's the Asus 2400. Alright, well, keep scrapping, guys. Have fun. I'll catch you next time with the next laptop scrap.